Hello and welcome. Silrace here with Mechwarrior Online, and this is a generalistic guide to drop decks for the solo players, for those who choose to drop solo for a variety of reasons. Pretty much all of my play in Community Warfare so far has been as a solo dropper, and I pretty much enjoyed it as well. 25%. Had to make some decisions and choices and adjust my drop deck, because I'm dropping in solo, but with all that done, I can enjoy the game, and finally I feel like I can make this video because the 12-man Zerg rush with light mechs got kind of, well, nerfed at least. So I've been waiting for that to happen. Thankfully it happened pretty rapidly. So I want to talk about what mechs to bring, what kind of mechs rather, and not specific mechs, and also some, tonnage talk towards the end of the video. But firstly, let's talk about the kinds of mechs you want to bring, because it is more about role and engagement ranges than the specific mech in this particular case. Because when you are dropping solo, you don't know what the rest of your team is in until you get to the whole, dropping in sequence. Whereas when you drop with a group, with a unit, you can make these choices before you decide to drop. Like, you guys are good with these mechs, so you bring them and I bring this, and you have your roles essentially set out. While you are with solo though, you have to adjust to whatever other guys are bringing, because if you don't, you're kind of screwed probably. If the other guys are bringing fast mechs, hoping to get to the generators and blowing them up, and you are in the slowest mech in the game, you cannot keep up. You're going to have to run, behind them, and then you are probably gonna, because you are alone, you're gonna get focus fire and die. So for this reason, I suggest bring mechs which are rather, well, capable of doing multiple things. And I will talk about the specific tonnages in a little bit. But firstly, what kind of builds you should bring. Firstly, if your mech can do any kind of group support. Essentially, if you can bring ECM. If you bring mechs which are capable of bringing ECM, you should always bring ECM. Because denying information is a big thing. If the opposing team does not talk in the chat, or they have lone wolves as well, solo droppers, or they are multiple small groups or whatnot, they don't necessarily share the info between each other. So if one of the guys in a certain group sees you, they know that group knows you're coming, even under the ECM umbrella. But if they don't share the info to others, then you are denying information from the rest of their team. New target acquired. Information denial is a big thing when it comes to this kind of stuff and being effective. So bring ECM if you are bringing mechs which can bring ECM. Also, weapons wise, you want at least one brawling mech. This is my experience so far. You want a mech capable of short range destruction. Because if it comes to the push or shove to the enemy generators, or you see the enemy pushes are coming and whatnot, you can drop in with an absolute close range monster of a mech, and you can slug it out at shorter ranges with things, because occasionally, especially on the defending side, the enemies are gonna get to your generators and you will have to defend them at short ranges. And in those situations you want something which absolutely gets rid of everything it sees, right? It doesn't really matter if that is short range missile boating or AC-20 boating or whatever, as long as it is a brawler. Target destroyed. As for the sort of, let's call them meta mech builds, which we have been using in the PUG queue for quite a while, and well, a group queue to an extent as well, of like certain stuff such as the old pop-tarting of using a ghost rifle and a PPC to jump jet over a cover to shoot over it and drop down into the cover again. You might want to leave some of these at home because you cannot tell if you are attacking or defending when you are, you know, queuing up for this thing. And if you end up on the attacking side and the rest of your team is pushing for the generators and you are at somewhere far back trying to PPC snipe someone, you are probably not helping. So try to steer away from those and bring mechs which can engage at multiple ranges and aren't stuck to a single thing. Long-range missile boats can work on both sides actually. So if you really want long-range something, bring a long-range missile boat. Even though I personally hate long-range missile boats, but if you really want a long-range something, bring a long-range missile boat. It can work. Right. So let's talk about specific tonnages then. Because this is my experience so far when I am dropping solo. When you get to your 4th mech in the mech life, obviously this changes a little if you are making mistakes or the enemies are catching you off guard for whatever reason and you lose like 2 to 3 mechs very rapidly. Then of course this changes. But if you play a little bit conservatively, you play play the game as it's supposed to be played, I guess. Like at least try to stay alive and don't just rush into all the enemy guns and die. Then by the time you get to the 4th mech, the game is pretty much decided. One side will have a decisive advantage at that point. This is my experience. So essentially you want to bring 2 to 3 mechs. My take on this is to bring 3, which are effective mechs, and then a filler mech. If you are looking at my gameplay here in the background, you'll notice that I'm playing summoners, right? This is my setup right now, is to bring 3 summoners and a Kid Fox. Kid Fox is the group support mech. It has an AMS, it has ECM, and yeah, it is a light mech. It's like you run that, or rather I run that as part of giving ECM cover for the team. And then I have 3 effective mechs, 3 summoners, and one of them is a short-range missile boat for brawling. And the other 2 are for a bit more of a medium to longest range engagement mechs. So it can do all sorts of things, and because it is a heavy mech with jump jets, it can also go places. This is how I feel about it. You should bring minimum 2 efficient, effective mechs. If you can bring 3, that is awesome. And the 4th one can be basically whatever. Because by the time you get to the 4th mech, the game is pretty much decided. Like I said, this is my experience so far with the game. Early damage, obviously important. If you can cripple and destroy enemy mechs early. Crippling is very important because it forces people to actually abandon their mechs instead of like getting them blown up and having to come in a new mech anyway. They have to make the choice of do I try to fight if I only have 1 weapon, or do I try to, you know, just abandon the mech and bring whatever the heck they have next in store. So tonnages, I feel like bringing things such as well, the Summoner is a good example. It's a 70-ton mech. Cataphragm is another 70-ton mech.
Target destroyed.
With it goes very nicely with the tonnages, in the sense that I can bring 3 of them and I still have 30 tons left, which is exactly a Kid Fox. So you could bring 3 Cataphragms and one of the Inner Sphere lights, as an example. You could do the same with Thunderbolts, for example. Or if you are bringing 2 mechs, you can bring a 2 80-ton mechs or 2 75-ton mechs. Personally, I feel like there is no real reason to bring 80-ton mech though. Because at that point, at that tonnage level, you might just as well bring, because think about it. If you bring, let's say, 2 Awesomes or 2 Battlemasters, both of those are 80-ton mechs. If you bring those 2, then you have to bring 40-ton mechs. Are you bringing 2 Cicadas? That makes no sense. So in that case, you might just as well bring 2 Atlases and 2 low costs. Because that suddenly works much better. You have 2 massive mechs and then you have these 2 filler things. So if you're bringing 2 mechs only, 2 big things, then you might want to consider how you want to do the damn thing. Or you could bring that 1 big massive mech and 3 smaller things, such as, a good example would be to bring the Cicada, the Atlas, and for example 2 Hunchbacks. That's 240 tons exactly, because right now there is no bonus for bringing less than 240 tons. So you should try to aim as close to that as possible. And try to avoid bringing trial mechs, obviously. But if you have to, then you have to, right? Everyone starts as a new player at some point or another. This is how I feel and how I play it. I feel personally that all the mechs in the 60 to 70 ton category are massively favored for this, because for a solo dropper, because you can bring 3 of them and some kind of a light filler mech. Whereas as soon as you go over it, you can only bring 2, and as soon as you go under it, you are bringing 4 a little less useful mechs. So just bring 4 Hunchbacks, which is not really all that awesome, because like I said, my experience is as soon as you get onto the 4th mech, the game has probably been decided already. Thank you very much for watching. Hopefully this helped out all the new players with their drop decks, and if you are a solo dropper, hopefully this helped you out as well. Thank you very much for watching.